Hi everyone, I am here with a review of Cello Lesson 5, and this week we continued to work on reading and playing the notes on the D string, as well as our bow hold and playing with the bow. So this week I had the chance to hear everyone play something for me on their own and give some feedback to help continue improving that bow hold and the tone with the bow. And I have just a list here of some suggestions that I had for a lot of people that I think would be useful for everyone to hear. So when you're using the bow, make sure that you have a beautiful bow hold. So we spent a lot of time last week working on this bow hold. If you still are not quite sure about the bow hold, you can go back and watch lesson review 4. But the bow hold isn't just there to make you look good or to make everyone look the same. It actually sets you up for success when you are playing. So if you have a nice bow hold, it's actually going to make your whole right arm and elbow ready to have nice straight bows. If something is out of place, it's going to be a lot harder to be successful when you're playing with the bow. Also, make sure you are playing in the sweet spot. So remember, the sweet spot is in between the bridge and the fingerboard, so somewhere around here. If you're playing up over the fingerboard, it's going to be very hard to stay on one string. And if you're playing over the bridge, you're going to get this squeaky sound. So we want to keep the bow in the sweet spot. Also, make sure that you are on the correct string. It's a really easy mistake to make, but making sure that your bow is on the string that you're trying to play so that you can hear the correct note. Make sure that you're pressing hard enough to grip the string. This is something we'll continue to work on in lessons, but especially with cello, you really need to put a little oomph into the string to get a good sound. If you just kind of skate over the string, you won't hear the note that you're trying to play. Also, make sure that you are using enough bow. So I'll show you something that I was hearing this week a lot from a lot of students. They were doing all the right fingering and they were in the sweet spot and they had a beautiful bow hold, but it sounded like this. That was because they were just using little tiny bows. Okay, we need to make sure that we're using enough bow somewhere like maybe from here to here. Okay, so that when we're playing, we get a beautiful tone like that. And just a reminder to make sure that when you are finished playing that you loosen the bow. So back to what we're working on this week, I want to make sure that everyone is comfortable reading and playing these 5 notes. So these are the 4 notes that we learned on the D string as well as open A. So D is 0 fingers. You add 1 finger, it gives you the note E. 3 fingers is the note F sharp. 4 fingers is the note G, and then finally, if you pop over to your A string without any fingers, it's the note A. These are the notes that we're going to be working on in our exercises this week. And in our next lesson, we're going to be learning a piece of music called the Peru Blue Boogie, and that uses all 5 of these notes as well. So let me get our lesson book up here. We're going to start with number 14. And again, this week, these notes are kind of scrambled up a little bit. It's not just like 2 notes in one exercise. All 4 of those D string notes are in this exercise in number 14. So since we're trying to become a little more independent in reading our notes, I would encourage everyone to please pause the video, practice reading the notes, and then come back and we'll do it together. So I'll see you in a few seconds once you finish with that. Okay, back here to read number 14. I'll go through and read the notes and you can read along with me. D, 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 E, F, 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 G, F, 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 E, D, 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 rest. E, 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 F, G, 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 F, E, E, F, F, D, 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 rest. Good. Now, once we feel good about reading those notes, before we use the bow, I would suggest that we practice playing this pizzicato. That's going to make sure that our left hand knows what's happening before we add bow things into our right hand. Okay. So before I start, I'm going to make sure that my left thumb is back here, on that dot where it's supposed to be. That my 4 fingers are lined up over the stickers or the lines that you have on your instrument. Get my pizzicato hand ready on the D string, and I'm going to play through number 14, pizzicato. Here we go. D, 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 E, F, F, course, remembering we are playing the note F sharp, not F, just makes it a little bit easier to say F. Now I have my bow ready to play this with the bow. Remember, setting up our beautiful bow hold before we even start. Our relaxed hand, middle on the metal, and that nice curved thumb back here. Remember, some cellists need to give their hand a little tilt over to the left. Setting it on the D string, getting all of these left hand things ready to go, and we're going to play 14 with the bow. Here it is. D, rest. E, 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 F, G, 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 F, E, E, F, F, D, rest. All right, so if you got that, we're going to move on to the next exercise. If this is still challenging, that's okay. Just take some extra time to keep going through this. It takes a lot of grit to know how to read these notes, and for some people, it takes a little bit of extra practice. So keep working on this until you feel like you can get all the way through it. We did not do 15 this week, but we went down to number 16 instead. And 16 starts on that 4-finger G. And if you look all the way at the end, it actually ends on our open G. We haven't played that note in a couple of weeks. So that's your low G string. So we're playing both of the Gs that we know. When you pause the video this time, see if you can read the notes and play through it pizzicato. And we'll come back and practice some of that stuff together. Okay, back at 16 to read our note names. I'll go through and read them, and you can read along with me. Here we go. G, G, F, F, G, G, E, E, G, G, D, D, G, 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 rest. D, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, rest, D, rest, G, 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 rest. Good. Hopefully you were successful in trying to play pizzicato. I'm going to leave that step up to you and just play number 16 for you with the bow so you can hear what it should sound like. Okay. Remember, this whole thing is on the D string until the last 3 notes where you're going to have to tilt your bow over to hit the G string. Okay. So here's number 16 with the bow. G, G, F, F, G, G, E, E, G, G, D, D, G, 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 rest. D, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, E, rest. D, over to G, 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 rest. Good. All right, the last 2 for our homework were 17 and 18. I'm going to leave those practice steps, the reading the notes, playing pizzicato, all of that up to you, but I will go through and play them for you so you know what they should sound like. So 17 starts on open A. So the 2 strings we're using for this are the A string and then the D string. So I'm actually going to start all the way over here for open A. Okay, so here comes 17. A, 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 D, rest, rest. D, E, E, F, F, G, G, D. Back over to A, 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 D, D, E, E, F, F, D, rest, D, rest. And last but not least, number 18. This one starts on 1-finger E. I'll go through and play this one for you so you know what it should sound like. E, 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 D, E, 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 F, G, F, E, 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 go to A. So those are our 4 exercises for homework this week, number 14, and then 16, 17, and 18. Continue to work on reading those notes and on using your bow. And I will see you next week to learn that Peru Blue Boogie.